Welcome to Precipice, where we learn how to live life on the edge without falling off the cliff. This is episode 5 titled Identify Your Attitude Food Triggers. My name is Adetutu Joshi and I'm your host. I'm a business and wellness advisor, consultant and coach, amongst the many hats I wear. To survive in today's world, one needs to have several careers running simultaneously. So if one particular sector goes down or has a problem, one does not suffer irreversible financial consequences. This is the 4th episode where we're discussing the various aspects of food on our attitude as a way to learn how to keep our mental health healthy in the midst of the onslaught of negative, chaotic environment that obtains on the earth today. Every aspect of life, including health, finance, social, civic, and civil and so on, are all chaotic with negative consequences for our mental health. Why is this important, you may ask? Here is the answer. Our mental health determines our ability to cope with the challenges of life. Living on the earth comes with challenges, that is stress. We are naturally equipped with biochemicals we call inhibitory and excitatory neurotransmitters that help us handle the stress. We can fight it, run away from it, or calm down and think of ways to manage the situation. The nutrients in our bodies, especially sugar, which provides ready energy, can trigger excitatory reaction in the body's bid to bring down the blood sugar levels. This is one of the reasons why knowing our food triggers is important. Once we are able to identify the triggers, it becomes easier to understand our attitudes and understand why we take some actions which sometimes may not correlate with the level or kind of challenge being posed by the situation we're in. I hope everyone carried out the exercise we were given last time. If you're a podcast member, you are able to access a worksheet which made things a lot easier for you. What were we asked to do? Let me refresh our minds to help us all, especially those on this podcast that have not yet listened to earlier ones. If you're one of those people, I will advise that you pause and go back to episode 4 so you can get the best from this current episode. To help us, this podcast is structured to provide us with cumulative benefits, which means each podcast is a build-up on the previous ones. It takes us a step further in our objective of learning how to live at the edge of life without falling off the cliff. We are all forced to live at the precipice in today's world and need to know how to prevent self-annihilation. Most of us have paid jobs or are self-employed, and living on the edge is very destructive to work productivity because we just have too many things to worry about. If we are able to reduce the stress by identifying when food triggers are responsible for the feeling of overwhelm or being unappreciated, it will help us understand and cope with the friction of working with others on the job and prevent overreaction to workplace situations. We will have a better handle on our emotions, understanding when food triggers are the problem and not the actual situation, or when the situation is exacerbated by food triggers, so they look worse than they really are, and we react accordingly. Last time, we were asked to record what we ate over a while at work, including what we drank. Started with the first cup of tea or coffee or water when we sit at our desk for a period of 6 days. We were asked to record our attitudes throughout the working day and discover the foods that trigger the various attitudes, including the following 5 effects. Number 1, whether we are distracted or concentrate better after we eat or drink something and before we put the next thing in our mouths. Number 2, whether we feel more like walking, that is, are energized, or whether we feel less like walking. Number 3, whether we feel overwhelmed or things feel easier. Number 4, whether we are more alert or less alert. Number 5, whether we feel more able to handle complex tasks, calculations, or less able to. And number 6, other attitudes that you may come up with. If you are a member, you got a lot more. You got about 13 effects, You got something more comprehensive. How did you feel after taking the various meals and drinks over the 6-day period? Now, let us analyze the results. Let us look at some examples of what you may have found. A more comprehensive result analysis and explanation is available as a short 3-page PDF file for members under members only content on the sidebar of PrecipiceDecisionTraining.com. Just scroll down the sidebar until you get to the part that says members only content, and you'll see it in the listing. Some examples of what we may have discovered as follows. Were you better able to handle complex issues, calculations, or it all felt harder and you did not feel up to the task? Was this for the whole day or after a particular meal? Did you feel sleepy or were you more alert? Did you feel overwhelmed and misunderstood? And how long did that feeling last? Did you begin to feel sorry for yourself, or are you a little bit depressed? And was that after taking a particular meal? And did that get better when you took something else? How about this? Was it that you felt so lousy you felt like resigning and doing something else? Or did you feel like taking an early retirement? Did you make a lot of mistakes, especially grammatical? Was writing a challenge? Did you feel angry? Was your anger cooled by something else you ate? Or did you just feel angrier the more you ate? Were you angry at the work? Or was it at people such as your employer or colleagues? Did you feel more empathy for others and their mistakes and issues? Or did you feel judgmental and smug? If you carried out the exercise, you now know the effect of what you took during this 6-day period on your productivity. If this was a different set of foods from that you performed the exercise in episode 2 on, carry out that exercise on this set of foods. Okay? Because it's a new set of foods right now. If you still have other foods you have not tested, carry out both episodes 2 and 4. Or carry out both episode 2 and episode 4 exercises on them. Now we have all been able to identify some triggers that affect our productivity and our attitudes and mental health issues. We are now better able to help ourselves in improving our attitudes, mental health, and productivity. Sometimes it's not the food itself, but the time of the day that we took it. That is because some foods naturally generate a lot of excitatory neurotransmitter production when there is less availability of sunlight. That's one example. There's several other things. If you're a member, you get more about that in the 3-page PDF file. Having established a basic foundation so far, we will stop here for now. I encourage everyone to become podcast members and to use the tools available to get the most from our 10 minutes conversations. Membership of this podcast costs only $4 per month, which is a little over 10 cents a day. If you get the quarterly membership at $10 per quarter, that is about 10 cents per day. It actually costs less than a cup of coffee in many places where we go to buy coffee. It is so easy to be a member. It also helps to keep this podcast on the air. You can also donate as little as $5 to help us. If you have found this podcast resourceful or useful, consider assisting us. Invite all you know to listen and encourage them to become members and or donate. To learn more about neurotransmitters, get a hold of my book, Lessons I Learned the Hard Way, available at Amazon.com and other online stores in both and you can find it in both print and digital form and in ebook format. It's available in both formats. Okay. At this our next episode, let me go back. I have not told us about some of the things that are useful for us. You can find the link to my author page at Amazon.com on the sidebar at PrecipiceDecisionTraining.com. To learn more about the best foods for your lifestyle, go to foodsthathealdaily.com or wiredlifesolutions.com. These are associate websites and they're both membership websites and cost $10 per month to be a member on any of these two websites. And you only need to be a member of one. You get the other website complimentary and you also get membership of this podcast complimentary. Consequently, there are many ways to get access to members-only content. You can be just a member of the podcast, which gives you access to podcast member content and allows you to post and view content. And you can and view comments, and that it allows you to post and view comments. And you are able to actually ask for a response to be sent to your email box, if you don't want the response to be seen by everyone. Or you can be a member of any of the associated websites and get complimentary membership to this podcast. There are links on the sidebar to the associated websites, at PrecipiceDecisionTraining.com. Our next episode will help us begin to harvest the benefit of what we have learned so far. Now we know there are a lot of unavoidable chaos in our everyday lives, and know that foods can exacerbate the situation, and we also know that we can identify the ones that exacerbate and the ones that help us. With this foundation, we'll take a break from food considerations and go in the financial direction next time to help us understand some financial issues which are outside of our individual control, but which, unbeknown to us, affect our attitudes, mental health, and productivity, and invariably affect our financial decisions. We'll first tackle the issue of deficit financing next time. After after building a financial aspect foundation, we will pivot to exercise and economics. After that, we'll come back to foods and start at that point with an episode titled Your Attitude, Your Food, and Your Immune System. We will end today at this point. Do come back as often as you need to and listen to this episode and to the other episodes available. See you next time, and until then, here is to your success as you navigate your way through life at the precipice. Bye for now.